Ludus latrunculorum, latrunculi, or simply latrones, was a two-player strategy board game played throughout the Roman Empire. It is said to resemble chess or drafts, but is generally accepted to be a game of military tactics. Because of the paucity of sources, reconstruction of the game's rules and basic structure is difficult, and therefore there are multiple interpretations of the available evidence. Game rule reconstructions. Ulrich Schadler's reconstruction use a normal checkerboard with 8x8 squares. The two players agree about the number of pieces, at least 16, but not more than 24 for each player. If the board is larger, the number of pieces increases too. Use counters in which the sides are differentiated, such as coins or hemispheres. The players take turns to place one piece on any vacant square. According to Bishop Isidore of Sevilla, these pieces were called vagi. In this phase no captures are made. When all the pieces have been placed, the players take turns to move pieces on the board. The pieces can be moved orthogonally to any adjacent square. Isidore called these pieces ordinarii. A piece can leap over any single piece of either color, if the square behind is unoccupied. Several leaps in one turn are possible. If a player can trap an enemy piece between two friendly pieces, the enemy piece is blocked and cannot be moved. Such a piece is called alligatus, or, according to Isidore, incitus. To make it clear that a piece is an alligatus, it is turned upside down. In his next turn, instead of moving a piece, the player can capture the trapped piece by removing it from the board, provided his own two surrounding pieces are still free. The trapped piece is immediately free if one of its two enemies is itself surrounded. A player can move a piece between two enemies only if by this move one of the two is trapped. A player reduced to only one piece left on the board has lost the game. R.C. Bell's reconstruction using an 8x7 board. Each player has 17 pieces, one blue, the others either white or black. The white and black pieces are placed two at a time by alternate turns of play anywhere on this board. During this first phase no captures are made. When the 32 pieces are in position, each player adds his blue piece, the ducks. The pieces move forwards or backwards or sideways one square at a time. There is no diagonal movement. A piece is captured when the opponent brackets it orthogonally between two of the opponent's pieces, or between an opponent piece and a corner square. The ducks is captured like any other piece. A piece that makes a capture gains an immediate second move. The ducks can move like the rest of the pieces, or can jump over an enemy piece that is in an adjacent square. The jumped piece is not captured by the move. Of course, the move can have as consequence the capture of another piece. If a piece is moved voluntarily between two enemy pieces, it is not captured. A player who loses all his pieces loses the game. If no captures are made in 30 moves, the game is ended, and the player with more pieces on the board wins. Kowalski's reconstruction. The board has 8 ranks and 12 files. Each player has 12 men and a ducks, black on one side and white on the other. In the starting array, the men fill the first rank and the ducks stands on the second, on the square just to the right of the center line. On the board of 10 squares by 11, the ducks starts in the center of the back row, flanked by 5 men on each side. Black moves first. Each piece may move any unobstructed distance along the rank or file. A man is captured if the enemy places a piece adjacent to it on each side in an orthogonal line. Multiple men in a line can be captured together. If a piece is moved voluntarily between two enemy pieces, it is not captured, but the player so moving should point out the fact, to avoid later disputes. A man in a corner is captured if the opponent places his men on the 2 squares adjacent to the corner. Repeating sequences of moves are not allowed. If the same position occurs 3 times, with the same player to move, he must vary his attack. The ducks cannot be captured. It is immobilized if blocked on all 4 sides. A player who immobilizes the enemy's ducks wins the game, even if some of the obstruction is by the duck's own men. If the game cannot be won by immobilizing either ducks, the player who has more men left on the board wins. Edward Falconer's Reconstruction game played on a board having 144 cells or squares. Each player has 5 rows of pieces. Beginning at the left-hand corner, they are placed alternately. The pieces move and take in all directions, perpendicularly, horizontally, diagonally, forwards and backwards. Pieces attack each other when in contiguous cells, and when another piece comes up on the opposite side, the intermediate piece is taken off. A piece can go between 2 adverse pieces without being taken. When one side is hopelessly beaten or locks himself in, the game is lost. A German reconstruction. These are the rules from the German museum set pictured above. 2 players have 16 pieces each, which are arranged in 2 rows facing each other. The goal of the game is to capture all of the opponent's pieces. The pieces move orthogonally any unobstructed distance. A piece is captured when it is caught between 2 opposing pieces on adjacent squares in a rank or file. The captured piece is removed from the board. Victory is by capturing more pieces than one's opponent, or by hemming in the opponent's pieces so that movement is impossible. Other similar games. In China, the various board games in the family of Fangqi have similar rules. Typically, board size varies from 4x4 in Korea to 17x17 in Tibet. Most varieties have the initial placing stone phase, followed by the removing stone phase, and then finally the capturing stone phase.